Welcome to Headliners Forum. We're here to bring you the best in Texas journalism, the stories behind the great stories. I'm your host, Mark Morrison. Our special guest is Sam Owens of the San Antonio Express-News. Sam won this year's Charles Green Award as Star Photojournalist of the Year. Congratulations, Sam, and thanks for joining us.
Thank you, Mark. Glad to be here, and thank you to the Headliners Foundation for the award.
Tell us a little about your background that led you to a photojournalism career, and how long have you been part of the Express-News staff?
I've been a professional photojournalist for about 8 years. I joined the Express News staff in September of 2021. So it's been almost 2 years since I've lived in San Antonio and Texas. Before that, I was working at a newspaper in Evansville, Indiana, and then in Charleston, West Virginia. And I studied photojournalism at Ohio University. So I've been steeped in photojournalism for many years now.
And you bring great passion to it. What is your approach to photography as a way to tell a story?
So I approach photography very much like any word journalist would, trying to tell the who, what, where, when, why of what is going on, and being able to give readers extra context into and really a view of what is happening that accompanies the words. So I love to collaborate with reporters to visualize stories that they're working on, and have it be another way for people to engage with the news and really get a grasp on what's happening.
You took a number of your award-winning photos in the aftermath of the Uvalde shootings. How do you go about an assignment like that with people who are trying to cope with such a tragic event?
Yeah, the Uvalde shooting was a really difficult assignment to pursue. I mean, it'd be difficult for anybody. I had never covered a mass shooting before. And unfortunately, so many of us are having to cover that type of event now, because it's happening all over the country. And I and many of my colleagues at the Express News were going there regularly at the very beginning, on May 24th, 2022. And after that, for several weeks after that, kind of cycling in and out to share what was going on in the community and try to visualize that for folks. And then as the days went on, I ended up being kind of tagged to be the photographer that went there through the past year to document the aftermath, of what it looks like, throughout the entire year after a mass shooting, and how the community and then two victims' families are dealing with the grief and the loss of their family members. And so I was looking for a way to connect deeply with victims' families and then also just the community at large, which meant going to community events and introducing myself and telling them that I was planning on being there for a while and kind of building a rapport with folks so that they would be comfortable with me photographing them in pretty intimate spaces, which took a lot of time. And I'm grateful for the Express News giving me that time to continually go over to Uvalde to document the community and get to know it on a deeper level. I spent a lot of time there over the past year, kind of driving back and forth between San Antonio and Uvalde, which is about 80 miles or about an hour and a half. Sometimes I would stay, especially if I was working, really late. And then other times I'd drive back and forth. But I was given a lot of time to get to know folks in the community, and I feel like that helped a lot with building trust and allowing them to let me in to photograph, birthdays, really intense meetings, any, Dia de los Muertos. I also traveled with them to DC while they were doing a little bit of lobbying for gun control. So it was just spending a lot of time with them and being able to show them that I was going to be around and that they could trust me.
Right. And it obviously worked. We're gonna, if you don't mind, go through a few of your photographs and get you to talk about the background a little bit. First, there was a very moving shot of the Uvalde football players embracing each other in prayer.
Yeah. So this was the night of the first home game of their season. In the middle there, you can see Justin Rendon wearing the number 21 jersey, and the football team this year decided to start a tradition where they would vote on a player that they felt instilled the sort of the ideal, attitude of their football team, and award him with the number 21 jersey. And they're going to be doing that for seasons to come. So Justin was a senior who was awarded the honor of wearing the jersey for the season. And I went into the locker room before the game started and photographed them all getting ready for the game. Emotions were high because there was a lot of attention on them, both from media and then also the community, because this is one of the first kind of public events that had happened, at least, revolving around the school system, since the tragedy had happened months earlier. And the team and the coach, Wade Miller, were really open with us documenting the team and their first game in front of the whole entire community. And so I wanted to photograph not just the game action, but also tell a more intimate story about how the team was embracing each other and coming together to honor the 21 victims of the shooting.
Well, you clearly caught them in a very emotional moment there. And could you also tell us a little bit about the photo of the father of one of the young girls who was killed?
Yeah, so this is a picture of Javier Casares. He lost his 9-year-old daughter, Jackie Casares, in the shooting. This photo was taken in Washington, D.C. when I traveled with a bunch of the families to lobby for gun control. And then this was taken actually the night after they had done a big rally and marched for gun control. I went to the National Gun Violence Victims Memorial that has been happening for the past 10 years and was started by the Newtown Alliance, which was created by folks who were affected by the Sandy Hook shooting. And there was a lot of parallels between the Sandy Hook shooting and the Uvalde shooting because it dealt with elementary school children, and Uvalde happened almost 10 years after Sandy Hook. And the Sandy Hook folks and a bunch of other people who are coming together to comfort folks who have lost their loved ones through gun violence had invited several of the families to come to this vigil. And Javier was, of course, very emotional during the vigil. There was a lot of beautiful music playing and a lot of folks sharing their personal stories with losing loved ones through gun violence, including his other daughter, Jasmine, who was 17 at the time, who spoke on stage sharing stories about Jackie and how it has affected their family. So this photo was taken while music was playing and everyone was asked to raise their candles. And I photographed him while, he was having this very emotional moment. And he, thankfully was very open to me photographing him during this very vulnerable moment and sharing it with our readers.
There's another photo that really is very strong of a child writing with a crayon.
Yeah, this photo is of Noah Arona. He is one of the survivors of the Uvalde school shooting. He was injured in the shooting. He was shot in the back, and if I'm remembering correctly, in a couple other places as well. And he was invited over the summer to a summer camp, like a week-long summer day camp from the Teresian sisters in Uvalde. They were inviting community kids to come to this summer camp and just play. And really the goal for them was for the kids to be able to connect to God and be kids and play together and build community. And they had an exercise where they asked the kids to write down their fears on one side of these hearts, these paper hearts that they gave them, and on the other side write about how God would help them deal with their fears. And so Noah wrote about how he hated guns, especially after seeing, he had to witness very horrible things, witnessing both of his teachers get killed, and then also many of his classmates. And this I had taken over the summer, I think it was at the end of July, if I remember correctly. So it was very fresh too.
Right. We thought we'd also show a few of your other photos that are not Uvalde. One of those was a girl riding a horse with the skyline of San Antonio in the background. This is just a great shot that immediately captured your interest. Where was it taken, and how did you get positioned to get such a wonderful shot?
Thank you. This photo is of a woman named Laura Rodriguez. She was part of the Charros de Bejar horse riding group, and she was getting ready for this for the Western Heritage Parade and Cattle Drive that we have every year to kick off the San Antonio rodeo, which is a big deal in San Antonio. It's a 2-week-long event, and so they always have this parade on the Saturday morning beforehand to kick it off. And I was tasked with covering the parade, and so I was at the start line photographing folks getting ready for the parade underneath an overpass, and I was watching this group get ready. And so we're standing underneath this overpass, and she happened to be riding her horse around along the fence line, and it just so happened that there was like a peak of light shining in on her and her hat in her hand, and it was one of those perfect moments where everything aligns together.
Yeah, the lighting was spectacular. Sam, it's been great chatting with you. We're thrilled to honor such beautiful work. Stanford professor and former newspaper photojournalist Jan Tuckwood was the judge in this category. As she put it, Sam Owens' pictures bring us close. They drew me in and kept me there. On our site, headlinersfoundation.org, you can link to Sam Owens' award-winning photography and to interviews with other outstanding Texas journalists. For my colleague and Headliners Forum producer, Gary Pickle, I'm Mark Morrison.